Welcome to the Karyn Reece Show. I'm psychic medium Karyn Reece along with my incredible co-host Alexa Zappia.
Hello, hello.
I'm so excited.
We are at Shea's.
Can you believe that? Amazing.
I'm so excited to be back. Oh my God, I miss it. This is like a second home to me. And we're back, folks. We are back.
This place just amazes me. It was built in 1926 by Michael Shea.
It's supposed to be a movie theater, and look what it is now.
Oh my God, and look at how much it's done for Buffalo. I mean, the grandeur and all of what you see in here, you're just taking it in. It's just so sensational. I think all your senses are really touched when you walk in here, at least mine are.
No, same. I love being in here. And it's actually one of the only theaters in the U.S. that is actually being used for its original purpose from all the way back in 1926. So that's incredible.
I am so proud of all people associated with Shea's, whether it's people that did the restoration to bring it back to where it is, or just to, everybody that works here, management, all of the above.
Current staff, former staff, past staff, whatever.
Yeah.
All
Actors,
of it.
actresses. I mean, it's just an amazing gem that we have something to be excited about.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of great energy in here. In more
There
ways
is.
than one, just saying.
Actually, with that said, obviously Michael Shea has passed. So can you A, sense him, B, if you can, what does he think about what is currently going on within Shea's and how far it's come since its original purpose?
You know, he's excited about it. Very excited. Actually, can hear him right now, and he's right over to the right corner, right over there. And he's thrilled in terms of how it's evolved over the years, and the fact that people actually took the time, the love, and the passion to restore it as well. So he's thrilled. Really thrilled is what he's telling me.
So speaking of Broadway, we are actually in our next segment talking to Kara Lindsay and Jackie Burns, who played Glinda and Elphaba in Broadway's Wicked. So we have them with us today, and we'll speak to them a little bit more coming up next.
They're so good.
They are! Welcome back to the Karyn Reece Show. We are so excited for our next guest, Jackie Burns and Kara Lindsay. They were Glinda and Elphaba in the musical Wicked, which is one of my absolute faves. It got me into Broadway, as I am such an obsessed lover today. So we are so excited. It's such an honor to have you both with us today. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. So good. Thank you for having us.
So, Jackie, what was the most challenging song to learn? And was that any different than your favorite song to perform? And if it is, what is your favorite song to perform?
Well, in the very, very beginning, the most challenging song, you're going to laugh, was I'm Not That Girl, because the last note is really low. And when I first started, they didn't tell me that I could do the alternate note, which is taking it up. So most Elphabas would be like nervous for like whatever, like Defying Gravity or I'm Not That, like No Good Deed or Wizard and I would freak the first 2 weeks on tour. I was freaking out for I'm Not That Girl because I do not have that. I'm not a girl. Like I cannot sing that note at all. Don't have it in my register, and I would get the cold sweats. And I love that song because it's so pretty and it's really supposed to be your like easy break, right? But then that last note is so low, and it just is like, it feels like the whole audience has a magnifying glass like up to you at that last note. It's like, you can't do it. And you're like, I can't.
Oh my God.
It was horrible. And then finally, Stephen or Remus, who's the musical supervisor, had came out like my second week and was giving me notes after the show and was like, oh, and girl, take up the end of I'm Not That Girl. He was like, Stephen Schwartz doesn't care. That was just a note that Adina wanted to sing. And like, he doesn't care if you do the low note or the high note. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I was like, it's like the bane of my existence. I never can enjoy that song. So I'm like, here it comes. Everyone's going to laugh at me because I can't sing this note.
Just burp it out.
That it was like, I love that song more than anything. And then I think truly the biggest challenge for me is Wizard and I, because it's like 5 minutes into being on stage, you're singing an 11 o'clock number on stage by yourself, and it's like, in my voice, it's just not, it kind of just sits in the middle. If it was a little higher, it'd actually be easier. I had to actually come up with a riff at the end on the last note to go up higher and then go back down, because it was easier for me to go high for the way my voice works. But that I would always be like, oh God, once Wizard and I was be over, I'd be like, okay. The rest of the show is like, because it's just so much, you feel like you hadn't, at least the first time that I played on Broadway, I never felt like I had a good hold of Wizard and I. It was always my nemesis. And then when I went back to it the second time, I finally felt like I had a handle on it, and I was ready to not let the nerves drive the show for me. And I felt like I was in the driver's seat rather than like holding on to the show for dear life, you know?
So what is your favorite song then?
My favorite song to sing is No Good Deed, because God knows I can be an angry SOB. So it feels really good to be mean and lose your crap.
Yeah, I love it.
Nothing like being crazy.
And feeling good about it too.
Yeah, getting rewarded for it.
Exactly.
From green sits to crazy, it works.
Right.
So Kara, so to get into character, how did you do that? Did you have a frame of reference? How did you develop that? If you could give us like an idea of how you did all of that, because it's amazing what you did.
Oh, I think that, well, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, just in terms of like keeping my dressing room door open. It helped me to get into the vibe of Glinda, and, you know, she's a social butterfly, but also on Broadway, the dressing room itself, the Glinda dressing room is so bright and cheery and sparkly and pink. I don't know if you do vision boards ever, but I would do vision boards sometimes for some characters if I felt like I didn't quite understand their world. And I was like gonna do one for Glinda, and then I was like, her costumes are a vision board, like her wigs, her crowns, and then the Broadway dressing room is, you're living inside of it. It's like this sparkly, just buoyant, energetic place. So being in there helped me to feel like I was her, but not until I had the costumes and the wig. I mean, I have brown hair, so not until I had everything on in the lashes. Like every bit of makeup and hair and costume and heel, that's when I fully felt like her. When we're in rehearsals, we would do rehearsals on stage every so often. And we wouldn't be in costume or anything. It felt so weird. I just didn't feel like her as much because I don't really look like her on a daily basis. Not until I have the frilly things on do I feel like her. But yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
That's just so cool. Very visual and how it just really pulls it together.
Yeah.
So Jack,
Costumes help so much. Costumes are like, so they're like, you know, game changers. It's like it's like the skin you put on, right? You know, like that's why it's so interesting. Like, you know, when we audition as actors, like for self tapes, or even when we go in for a character that's like creating the character, we can help create the aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like if we go in wearing something that they like, oh my God, yes, that's her. Now that's how I see her. You know what I mean? As the actor, you bring that character to life through, you know, costuming and hair and makeup choices, right? It all tells the story. So it is, yeah. The second I would put on the Act 2 dress, for me, it was like that transformation from like the youth to the age, right? Like, you know, in the beginning where you're just youthful, you have your glasses and you're gangly, you're not quite, you don't really understand your body, you're not really in your body, and you've got this like weird costume that's asymmetrical, and you're like, you know, it's kind of boxy, and the adolescence. And then like Act 2, you put on this like gorgeous dress, and you have the height of like your hat makes you feel like you're 1,000,000 feet tall, and like you feel more grounded and present, and it just, yeah, the costuming helps transform you so much.
sure.
It's interesting.
So Jackie, do you see any of your own personality traits within Elphie?
Yeah, I'm such a loudmouth. I never think before I speak. My boyfriend says to me all the time, he's like, you know, you can have thoughts that can just live in your head that you don't have to say out loud. And I'm like, why wouldn't I want to share? That's not fair. I'm like keeping a secret. Like
Caring is caring.
Caring is caring. You're welcome. So like, yeah, Elphaba is like, especially when I get passionate about something, it's like 0 to 60, just like Elphaba is. There's no back. Like the second she's going for it, she's going for it. And she's also fiercely loyal, and I'm also very loyal in that respect. So yeah, she's just like, and I feel like certain things, like when I first took over the role of Elphaba, I definitely the relationship that I was in at the time, he would constantly be like, oh my God, you've gotten so, like, you never let me talk anymore. Like there's a thing in, you know, the show where he's like, do you ever let anyone else talk? That started to happen to me more and more than I'd always been like that, but then it became like exponentially. Like, so I think it's hard when you live in a character to not take on personality traits or have those traits that are already in you be personified, you know? And so.
Well, when you leave your character, do you feel like you're losing a part of yourself too? Do you have any kind of mourning feelings for that part, or?
You know, I don't, yes and no, like, interesting. So like whenever I went playing Elphaba, I always was very sad at the end of the show, like always very sad when I would take off my makeup, and I would always listen to Beyonce's Halo. I don't know why, like always, like that was my like
The one song.
Yeah, always. I always listen to that song when I would like take off my makeup. Because, you know, the end of the show is really sad. You lose your other half, your best friend. And it just, I always had this sense of, I mean, I would let it go, but while I got on green, it was very hard to like disconnect. And I always had this very sense, this sad loneliness that I couldn't understand. Like, I was like, I'm not sad or lonely. I'm going to go home and hang out with Kara or whatever, you know what I mean? And like, but the first 5 minutes of the show, I would always just, it was like this mourning of what just happened, you know? So I don't know. You, Kara, do you feel like that? Or
Sometimes I would feel that, you know, if For Good is at the end of the show and Glinda thinks, I mean, I don't want to give the show away, but like,
oh yeah,
but there's a loss for both of them, but Glinda thinks like real loss. So it's devastating, but Glinda, I do know that the end of the show is then the beginning goes to the beginning, and Glinda puts on this persona. So I think there was like a mixture depending on the day, because we're human beings and sometimes the show would hit differently. But I think, yeah, sometimes I would feel drained, and then most of the time though, I felt more energized.
So, Kara, if any of our audience members would like to connect or find out more about you, where could they do that?
On Instagram, Kara Lindsay 1, and Twitter at Kara Lindsay 1, and Facebook, it's just Kara Lindsay.
Love it.
And then Jackie, what about you?
Instagram, Jackie Burns NYC, Twitter, Jackie Burns NYC, and Facebook, Jackie Burns.
Well, both of you, thank you so much. This was one of my favorite interviews that we've done. Thank you so much for joining us. We are so lucky to have had you with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Karyn Reece Show. As always, anytime Karen's around, Spirit's around. So today we have a very lucky winner with us. Marni, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you. Your energy is amazing. Karen, take it away.
Oh my God, we have a lot of people coming in. I'm also going with your husband's side, so I'm going back and forth. I keep hearing the name Mark, and I keep hearing the name Dave or David. So I keep seeing these two names. Are you close to a Dave and a Mark? I mean, why is your grandmother telling me about these names, and your husband?
Okay.
She wants him, okay?
Well, my brother is David.
Okay. It's always about the boys.
Yeah.
Talking about David, she said close. You know, it's interesting. You and David have been brother and sister in multiple lifetimes.
Wow.
Yeah. So give him a kiss. And, you know,
Okay.
I don't know, Grandma and Grandpa's giving me thumbs up on that.
That's awesome.
I also see some new channel or some new opportunities for David too. So you can just pass that on. It has to do with his career house too, some newer things that will come up along the way. So I won't spend a lot of time on that, but you can pass that on to him as well. Also, who's got the March or April birthday?
Oh, well, my daughter's March.
I was going to say, okay. Yep. Okay. I heard of March too. I'm like into spring. And who's also got like an April or May birthday passing her anniversary. And also going into November and December. Is this one of your parents?
Well, my mom is December.
That's why I said,
Yeah.
yeah, she said, Mom, she says coming up. So
Yeah.
tell everybody happy birthday from the other side is what I keep hearing as far as that's concerned. Do you like the Carolinas, by the way? Do you like visiting the Carolinas?
Yeah, anything south I like. Yeah, we go to the Carolinas almost every spring. So in April, usually we go. So
Oh, there we go.
maybe that's the April connection.
She's talking so fast. She says, "Don't worry." She said, "We'll be going with you, Grandpa and I." She said, "We'd love to have a good time with you." Did somebody just have a flat tire or have to have a tire fixed in your house?
Oh my gosh, you're
What's Grandpa
kidding
talking
me.
about? Yeah.
Well, we went to Lake George. My husband and I went to Lake George, and we trailered a boat. And we actually got hit on the highway, and it took out the side of the trailer, and that actually flattened the tire. So maybe that's it. It's been this big debacle.
Yeah, that's what your grandfather was just talking about. He said, "You know, we know all about that." He said, "See, we know exactly what goes on." And it's funny. I was going to ask you who George was too, just so you know.
Wow.
You
Whoa.
have like a haunted house with crazy parents on the other side. I have a father coming in. Your dad's still alive, correct?
His dad is still alive. Yes.
Might be pulling into your husband's side because I'm pulling in both sides. I'm hearing like somebody's made a father connection. So FYI on that. So, and also, where's the Sid or Sid? Cindy, Sid? Is that a friend of yours? Cindy, Sid?
I have a friend, Cindy. She's still alive, but she's a dear friend.
That's why Grandma's saying very close. She said you and Cindy go back many, many years. So many, many lifetimes too. So when you met Cindy, did you feel like you always knew her?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. She's a dear, dear friend.
Well, I go way back into like Middle Europe. Think of yourselves as little Red Riding Hoods back maybe around the 800s in, Great Britannica.
She'll love that, by the way. I will tell her.
Bears. Yeah, she'll love that one too.
It's great.
Do you like to do some little wine tastings? Do you do a lot of wine tastings?
Yes.
Eat a little sip here and there, a little nip here and there. It's good for the heart and the soul, Graham said to tell you.
Oh, yeah. I could believe that. I probably got that from her.
That one for me too. Exactly. She's laughing.
Yeah.
Gina comes up. Is that a friend of yours in the living? Jean?
Yeah, my sister-in-law is Jean.
Oh, okay. I felt like I was connected. Now, is this on your husband's side?
Yes,
Yeah.
my sister-in-law, my husband's baby sister is Jean.
Because I've got his side coming in. They're all coming in. I can't tell who. They're all starting to talk, and they're all having a good time. Has Jeannie gone with you down to the Carolinas too?
She hasn't, but she loves it down there too.
You better tell your sister-in-law. Grandma said her grandmother and grandfather. But I got a father coming in. Your father-in-law's still here?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's his dad. That's why I heard he's still here. They're all talking at once. So I got everybody's side really talking fast, and I got to go back to you in a minute. But anyways, tell your sister-in-law that Grandma and Grandpa on her father's side said the next time you should all go down to the Carolinas together and have a big, family get-together.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, are you good friends with a female police officer or somebody who's in law enforcement yet?
Okay, my brother is a deputy sheriff,
Oh,
so
your
maybe
brother.
that's it.
I looked at him and then I saw a female, so I'm seeing probably his other half. Oh, so he's a deputy sheriff. Oh,
He is,
Is
yeah.
this David again?
David.
It's always about the boys.
Yep.
Because they're all talking and I'm hearing sheriff and friend. And really, everybody stopped talking. It's interesting. He arrested you in a past life when you were with your friend Gina. Yeah.
I can believe that.
Yeah, and you were actually brother and sister. That's just wrong. And it was like in probably the mid 1800s here in the States. That's just wrong.
That's crazy.
That's just wrong. Did you just give some blood by any chance?
2 days ago.
Oh, you did. The little vampires that were around you. Good job, Grandma said, on your dad's side this time.
Yeah.
To be giving blood.
I do, but I do it anyway.
You're sick.
I do.
They're all laughing about that. It's also interesting too. Are you connected to somebody that's connected to either a funeral home or they may work at a cemetery? Is this a good family friend of yours? Somebody you're close to?
It's a very good friend of mine, a former student, and we've sort of reconnected.
Yeah.
And they work at a funeral home. Yes.
Yeah, that's what your grandmother just told me, that one of your friends that has a connection to the funeral home. And she said a new connection. And she says, oh boy, Marni, she says, you have no idea how many dead people follow your friend home. And then when you're with them, they all like to hang around you.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So if you see lights that flicker on and off, oh yeah, totally. You got some crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. And his father does car shows with my husband. So that's
well, that's it. The name Sue keeps coming up. Is that in front of your mom's or your friend Sue? Susan? Sue?
I have a friend, Sue.
Okay, it's your friend. Yeah, because they're talking like a good friend too. I like Sue. You like Sue?
I love Sue. She's
Yeah,
Well, let's hope she said she's a good friend with her. I mean, like, no, she's a good friend, but I hate her. Like,
yeah, I'm with her.
You never know. That's why she's called Watson.
Yeah, great.
And also Sue was with you and your friend Gina when David arrested you in a past life. Your brother really is like out to get you. Marni, I'm just saying.
It's great.
They're all laughing. I keep seeing a son. Do you have a son?
I do.
Yeah, he's adorable. Your grandmother keeps showing me pictures. He's a ladies' man. You better like set the record straight and tell him, all girls have cooties till they're 40.
Exactly.
You probably haven't done this. I don't think you've done this, but I feel like I'm opening up a drawer and I see some kind of like a letter with like something about love on it, something that was written or a card. Did you come across something that recently?
I keep a lot of stuff in the bottom of my drawer. So I keep like old love letters and old cards. I never get rid of that stuff. And anytime I change over my clothes, I always look at them. So
that's what she's talking about, because she's saying my granddaughter's looking at like love letters. So this is just something you do as a regular part.
And I'm getting like my husband, when we went and got the Halloween stuff out, I had him take out all of my fall and winter clothes. And now we're going to be changing over all of the clothing. So I'm going to be probably going through all of those love letters and cards and stuff at the bottom of my drawers once again.
They love that. Your grandma said every time you look at it, she says she loves to read that. Like, I don't think I keep anything. And
you need to.
Oh,
you should.
I think that's fantastic. They watch you in action.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Is there an L connection around you, like an Ellen or an Allen? An Ellen or an Allen, like an EL is what I'm getting, or AL sound? Who's that?
I have a very good friend, Ellen.
Okay.
That's a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, because grandma kept saying L, 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 and I thought that's what she was trying to say. We love Ellen, but has Ellen ever like broken her toe or her foot area? Probably.
She did. She broke her foot.
Oh, I'm feeling the pain. Tell Ellen I said thank you.
She did break her foot. It was like a couple years ago now, but she did. She kicked a vacuum cleaner and broke her foot.
Oh, that'll teach her.
Yeah.
Talk about a sucker, more ways than one. Poor Ellen.
Yeah.
It's funny because I saw you and Ellen on horseback, again, going back into Europe, maybe around the 1200s. So it's interesting how you bring quite a bit of your family and friends, including your husband and your children, into each lifetime with you. So, by the way, Ellen's father or grandfather said, send her my love. And I keep feeling my foot hurting. So she may have that as an issue when she gets older. Tell Ellen I said, thank you very much. Have you done acupuncture? Were you thinking about acupuncture?
I have been thinking about acupuncture.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're going out of body at night and you're talking to your grandparents, primarily your mom's mom, about, oh, maybe I'll do some acupuncture. And she says, just do it. You'll have fun. It'll be worth it. You really like needles. You like to give blood. You like to get, I mean, we are coming into Halloween. Maybe you should dress up as a vampire instead. I'm just putting that out there.
Right. Glutton for punishment. What can I say?
Right. Glutton for punishment.
Human pincushion.
They're all laughing about that. The name's Stephanie or Steven. Is that another good friend of yours?
Steven is the friend of mine who works at the funeral home.
Oh, that's what she said. She spelled Steven. We both said Steven at the same time. You and Steve-O actually were grave robbers too in a past life. What did you tell David? Your brother's going to have a heart attack.
I love it.
Yeah, the past life that your brother David actually arrested you for grave robbing with Steven. Or attempted to do that. He released you on your own, I guess, reconnaissance. So they're laughing about that. Yeah, and you should tell Steven when he goes home, he brings company home with him, just as an FYI.
I'm certain that he would probably agree.
Well, Marni, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully this gave you the peace and the closure that you needed. Karyn, thank you. And Spirit, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Karyn Reece Show.
As always, if you would like to connect with Karyn to potentially speak to your past loved ones or hear about your future, you may do so by entering in on our website at www.karynreece.com, spelled KarynReece.com. You can also send us an email, Karyn, Karyn, and then the little @, KarynReece.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Karyn Reece Psychic Medium, or on Instagram and on Twitter at Karyn Reece. You can also call our office phone at 716-580-2520. And then she's also on TikTok, so at Karyn Reece and the number 1.
Isn't this just a great place? Aren't you so glad that we are here today?
I'm so happy we are here.
I mean, the restoration that they have done, where they've restored it back to its original grandeur and just the original pieces, it just amazes me, because there was a period of time that, it was a little bit of, neglected. And I'm sure Michael Shea is like thrilled. Actually, I know he is, because I just heard yes. And I just heard a little bell, by the way, but.
That's so fun.
Little sound from heaven.
Who would have ever thought that, like, all these years ago from where we started, that we're now bringing this show to Shea's? I mean, that's crazy.
And makes you proud as a Buffalonian, doesn't it? It really does, because what an incredible place that we have. And thanks to Michael Shea and everybody that's actually worked here. They put work into this building to bring it back to where it's at, including all the theater. All the
theater goers. I mean, I'm such a theater goer, and anyone who comes to Buffalo goes to Shea's. It just feels like home. Like, whether you're standing out line in the snow, waiting to get into Hamilton with your family,
only in Buffalo,
freezing,
New York,
or sitting in your seats waiting at intermission, whatever it is, a memory always comes back, and that's why I think Shea's, besides all the grandeur of it, is so historic. It's because it is so unique to each individual. And that's why I think it's so important.
Well, and you walk away feeling just really good. Just really, really good.
I can't wait for our next show. That's so exciting. I'd just like to be back seeing a show at Shea's. I'm so excited.
Likewise.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of The Karyn Reece Show.